Yes, this is DJ Ski.
I'm Jeff Wilson.
Hey guys, Andy Broom, Vice President of CGC Cards.
Hey, this is Jason Howarth with Panini.
Yo, I'm Q Harrison.
This is Teapot from Sports Card Investor.
I'm loving the content.
Loving the content here.
The Sports Card Strategy Show.
The Sports Card Strategy Show.
This is the Sports Card Strategy Show with your man, Paul Hickey. What's good?
Part of the NoOffSeason.com Sports Card Network, the #1 place for advice on how to make money flipping sports cards. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, there is no off-season.
You already know, there is no off-season.
No off-season!
All right, you ready to rock?
Ready to go.
When you get into this game, the reason why you pay someone like Paul Hickey to get your sports card strategy together is because sometimes when you're starting out, you need perspective, you need wisdom, you need insights. And so he's been around the track enough times where he can actually coach you up and guide you. Doesn't mean he's going to take you to the promised land tomorrow, but you now have a coach by your side that can advise and kind of even create these pathways where you can get the education yourself. And that's a lot better than thugging it out on your own. Thugging it out on your own.
The kids better buy my rookie card now, because after this year, the price ain't coming down.
Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Paul Hickey. It's time to sit back, listen, learn, and earn with me on the Sports Card Strategy Show. Yo, what's up, fam? Paul Hickey here, Kendall the Lefty McKee, in the place to be to make some money flipping sports cards. Lefty, how you doing, man?
Guys, you should have seen behind the scenes what kind of stealing home, barely getting in, VAR, gotta go do the monitor look that I just made. I literally made it to the show about 3 seconds before that intro ended because my computer was having a meltdown. But I'm here and we're ready to rock, and I'm loving sports cards. Let's get it, Paul.
Let's go. Way to make it just in the nick of time, Lefty. Lefty, there's a lot of stuff to talk about today. I'm just going to kind of run through some of the topics, and then we're going to go back up to the top. But Shedeur Sanders, Panini exclusive. We've got more hyper relevancy data from eBay, which I know you like. I know the audience likes it. I love it. So we're going to go through that. We've got the Masters, Rory, sell alert, the Rory roller coaster. Our guy, Oscar Piastri, wins again in F1. Could that be a sell alert? The NFL draft is coming up in a couple of weeks. NBA playoffs start soon. WNBA draft is tonight. I mean, there is no shortage of sports news that impact the card market to talk about today. But first, are you tracking your sports card profit and loss sheet properly in 2025? Sports Card School and our inventory tracker help you to do so. Go premium at NoOffSeason.com. Weekly, monthly, annual pricing tiers. You can save 20% using the promo code NoOffSeason now. So if you're one of those people who weirdly decided to cancel for some stupid reason, come back to us. You can save 20%. And then we also have the feature packages where you can just choose your feature. It's a lower rate to choose your feature. So, I mean, if you just want our amazing sports card rankings, you can only get the sports card rankings if you want. If you only want the premium podcast, you can only get the premium podcast. I don't know why you wouldn't want everything, but
cool.
You just pick your own, choose your own adventure. Let's say hello to some people in the live chat. New name, Ariel Lahip. What's up, Ariel? Aloha. Andrew McDade in the house. Brian Bartunik. Andrew Helms. So one new name and then a couple of longtime listeners.
I've been talking to Ariel on Instagram for a couple of months now. He's, I think he was talking to me about what the benefits of our program are and everything. And he's like, I think I'm going to go ahead and sign up. So here it is, Ariel.
All right, let's go, Ariel. NoOffSeason.com. Check it out. Richard Villarreal in the house. Arturo Torres. Terry Anderson. Terry got some love on the premium pod and on the webinar. We had the webinar on Friday. Terry got some love on the webinar as well. Brad Smith in the house. Ben T in the house. Okay, we will hear how Lefty's Cooper play ended. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. We've got out of left field today. So maybe Lefty can toss it in along the way or talk about it in out of left field at the end of the show. Lefty, one thing I get excited about is, this should surprise no one, our sports card rankings at nooffseason.com. And the reason I get excited about it is because not only is it the only place that you can find a cheat sheet rankings of sports cards by ROI percentage, but you know this, I literally built it for myself first to just prioritize all the different raw to grade plays, all the different already graded plays, or graded to graded, as you like to call it. And then recently we've added graded to raw, which is interesting. And then we've got, it's kind of, we're basically like coming up on the year anniversary of when we launched the sports card rankings. And it's really helped a lot of people make smart decisions and make money flipping sports cards. It's helped me. I know it's helped you. And we've got Jake the Guardian, who made his debut on the webinar on Friday, in the lab, constantly updating the sports card rankings. So on the Sports Card Strategy Show, at least a couple times a month, what we like to do is just talk about some of the cards that are moving up in the sports card rankings, not because we have a hunch, but because the numbers are telling us that we can now make money from a raw to grade standpoint or a graded to raw standpoint. Now, the already graded is the formula-based rankings that is a little bit based on I wouldn't say on our opinion, but it's based on some historical data that we have to interpret, whereas the raw to grade and the graded to raw is really just based on like sheer numbers. So raw to grade movers up to the point where now you can make a lot more money on these cards than you could a couple of weeks ago. Anthony Edwards 2020 Prism Purple Wave 258, raw to grade at PSA, target cost $123, new ROI 93%. So that's up 71% from where it was earlier this month. Victor Wembanyama 2023 Prism Green Wave 136. That's up 64%. So now you can make 107% on that card. Target cost $198. And then another Wemby 2023 Optic Premium Box Set number 225, up 75%. Now you can make 116% raw to grade on that card. Target cost $133. Lefty, what do you think of those basketball plays right now? I know a lot of people are going to say, well, it's the NBA playoffs. We don't really have time to grade them. It kind of doesn't matter, right? I mean, especially with these two guys.
I don't think these two guys, it will matter. One, because I think Anthony Edwards will actually get bounced in the first round of the playoffs. That's my prediction. I think they will lose to the Mavericks. I think it'll be one of the most exciting first round series, but I think that they will lose to the Mavericks. At least that's my hope anyway, considering I've invested big in Luka. I think
they do play the Lakers. Do you mean the Lakers?
I'm sorry. Yeah. Did I say the Mavericks?
Play the Lakers. Yeah, you said Mavericks.
Sheesh. My brain is not even with Luka being a Maverick or
you think that they're just going to lose to Luka only, basically, is what you're saying. Yes. Okay. Gotcha.
So I think that this won't be that big of a deal, because by the time that this is really in its, I think this is just going to get better over the next 90 days. So Victor Wembanyama obviously is a guy that we're very excited about. We talked about on the webinar on Friday what sport we would really get excited about if we only were able to choose one. And I got really excited about, I think the whole crew, all five of you guys were, or all four of you guys were like, wow, I don't expect lefties to be basketball. But basketball has just been where I made my money this year. I mean, I've made so much money on Caitlin Clark, Victor Wembanyama, and Cooper Flagg this year, and Anthony Edwards. It's just a no-brainer for me. I think I just got to keep going back to the well. So I get excited about looking for more Victor Wembanyama plays, because I think those are plays that are going to continue to be evergreen for us. And, you know, like I'm looking at other plays in basketball as well. I think you made an awesome point about LeBron in Friday's webinar as well, that I think I'm excited to get into him long-term. So
for sure. Yeah, I totally agree with your analysis on those raw to grade plays. I know we'll have questions about it, and We'll say hello to Ben. We said hello to Ben T. We'll answer Ben T's question in the episode for sure. MSU collector in the house, only because he is the MSU collector, and we know he's talking about Michigan State University. We'll give him a shout out. He's asked, how has the PSA delays changed your grading strategy? Gotta defer you to the premium pod, brother. The premium pod, we have answered that question so many times. Go premium at nooffseason.com and just check out the most recent premium pod. I mean, there's a lot of great insights there.
And
Houdini's
Paul was by
cards
himself on that episode, so
I was all by myself on that episode. Houdini's cards and comics, Ryan Painter, Carmel Porter, Rusty Immigart, Card Snatcher. What's up, everybody? Good to see all of you. Okay, graded to raw. Now this one's interesting. Yeah, go green, go white, MSU collector. Love you. I think MSU collector, are you the dude that we met at the 2023 National in Chicago at our table, and you know Kirk Cousins? I think that's you. Because I recognize your Instagram handle too. You're the man. Okay, anyway. Graded to raw, Justin Fields 2021 Absolute Kaboom PSA 9. If you can find one for the most recent comp of $595, you can make 19% just basically cracking it out and selling it raw. That's up 63%. I think that's notable for a few reasons. Obviously, Justin Fields was in the news last month, moving over as the starter on paper for the New York Jets. I know they've named him the starter, so he's been named the starter. I say starter on paper just because anything can happen in the NFL. We haven't even had the NFL draft yet, so who knows, right? It could be posturing. It could be that there ends up being a competition. He could get injured. I like Justin Fields. I hope that he earns the starting job and does well, to be honest. That's his rookie kaboom. Now, the thing I like about this card is, number one, I've made money on this card. 2 off seasons ago, Justin Fields was a guy that I made a play on. I bought this card raw, had it graded, got a 9, and still made money flipping it as a 9 when he was in the news cycle, before he signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I still made money on that. And I guess that was just 1 off season ago, not 2. I misspoke. But anyway, it feels like time. Sometimes it feels like it's been 2 years when it's only been 1 year. I don't know why that is. But I think it's because we make so many plays that we it's just like, we're like, when did we go to that card show? When did we make that play?
when was that?
When
We're
was
all
that?
getting old.
And I'm getting old too. So
I said we. I said we.
I don't feel old though, Lefty. I ran 10 miles today.
Bro. I don't think I've ran 10 miles in the last 3 years combined.
Broke the 8-minute mark. Finished at 7:59 per mile at 10 miles. That's feeling pretty good about that.
You're my hero. You are my hero.
Thanks, brother. You're my hero. You were just buying cards all weekend, so that's even better than running 10 miles
at church. Let's go.
Buying cards from Turner at church. I enjoyed getting that on the text string. That was awesome. So I like the Justin Fields card because because people ask about the graded to raw and they're like, well, does that really work? I mean, it sometimes it doesn't, but if it's a PSA 9, a lot of times PSA 9s get cracked out and resubmitted and get PSA 10s. So, I don't know that I really have a problem with any of this. I think also it's Justin Fields, and if you can get it at the target cost, there's a lot of different things you could do with it. You don't have to sell it raw right away if you don't want to. You could wait and sell it raw in August, or you could try having it regraded if you want to. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do. Clay Thompson 2012 Prism PSA 9. This is an interesting one because I wouldn't, you don't see the Mavs anywhere in the playoffs. I mean, if you're a Mavs fan, if you're Chase Krim and other Mavs fans,
he has resigned his fandom, I believe.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a hard one. That's a hard one to swallow with that trade and what it's done to that franchise, not only for the long term, but in the short term, it's just crushed them. So Klay Thompson, nowhere to be found in the NBA playoffs. At the beginning of the season, I think we all thought, wow, this could be like a super team. But what's interesting about it is it's only $23. And I think because he's down, now the ROI percentage on the raw card is up 73%. So it went from you would lose 3% to now you can make 70%. And that's why you should really be tuned into our sports card rankings all the time, because they do change. I know some people think they look the same from day to day, but that would make sense because, you know, they're based on the average of the last 30 days. And we update them about every week. So we don't want to update them too often because, you know, things there can be like one-off sales that we want to make sure are not skewing the numbers, and we want to make sure that they stay conservative. And sometimes when you update them too frequently, you can have some kind of an anomaly or some kind of a performance spike, really change things too much, and it can go too much in the other direction. So even though sometimes the sports card rankings look the same day after day, they're really not. And that's one reason why I kind of want to bring them to the forefront here on the Sports Card Strategy Show. Okay, Lefty, let's get into some topics that I know you're excited to talk about as well. First of all, I'm amazed at like how quickly things get posted to social media in the hobby. Like what I mean is, like, I was checking my email the other day. I get the press releases from Panini. So I'm checking my email the other day. I see the press release from Panini that our guy, Shedeur Sanders, has signed an exclusive deal with Panini as an autograph signer for all trading cards, all memorabilia, everything. Panini exclusive now with his former teammate, Travis Hunter. Shedeur Sanders is now Panini exclusive. I kind of saw this coming when they signed Hunter. I can't remember if I said anything about it on the show, but I was kind of thinking, I bet Shedeur does the same thing. And it's a big move by Panini. I think it's a huge move. And then you texted me like literally 2 seconds after I read my email, and it was the X thread from Sports Card Investor or somebody that had already posted it to social media that Shedeur. And then I had some of our listeners, love all you family members out there listening. I had some of you DMing me on Instagram because you know how much I love Shedeur. So now this does change things a little bit. For what plays we're going to be able to make with Shedeur. Lefty, first thing that comes to my mind is, other than that it's a huge power move by Panini, first thing that comes to my mind in the short term is there's not going to be any Topps Now autographs on the draft day. There probably won't even be any Shedeur Topps Now cards because of this. But there will be, you can bet your butt, there will be some Panini instant plays. So we're still going to be able to make some plays, just probably not the ones that we thought we were going to be able to make. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, I'm excited about this overall. I think this actually adds value to Travis Hunter's signing. I think there could potentially be cards of them together on there. I think it adds to that. I mean, think of like the dual auto potential. Think about the Panini deal we saw with like Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning on the same card. You know what I'm talking about? Like, think about that same thing with draft night of Shedeur and Travis Hunter type thing. I think they'll do something like that. So I think this actually boosts Travis Hunter's value in the Panini exclusive deal. But I also want to ask you a question about Shedeur in general. And I'm excited about this, but Mel Kiper's big board, and I'm sure you've seen this because you follow Shedeur Sanders news like it's the era you live on. Mel Kiper has him falling to number 9 to the New Orleans Saints. Now, I know you probably don't think he will fall that far. I'd imagine that you probably are like, no, that's hogwash. But just go with me for a second. Consider that he does go 9 to the Saints. First off, I think that's a good landing spot for him. Second off, that's besides the point. If that is to happen, you still have an asterisk next to Shedeur Sanders. And you said you were going to invest potentially in his draft night card, depending on what that looks like, et cetera, et cetera. I know this Panini news potentially changes that. But if he falls out of the top 5, are you still as interested, or is it Shedeur Sanders to the moon no matter what for Paul Hickey?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. Well, first of all, I think I agree if he does quote unquote fall to the Saints, I think it would be a good situation for him. Before that, I saw him falling all the way to the Browns, I think at like 18 or 19 or something like that. And then I saw him kind of, I guess, I love the NFL draft, by the way, because nobody knows what the hell is going to happen. And then everything's totally different than what everybody thought every single year. And I think it's next to March Madness. It's actually one of the more fun things to try to predict and just be totally wrong and still have fun with it. Is the first round of the NFL draft, because it's, you and I both know that like there's 100 guys that are projected first round picks, and there's only 32 guys that can be picked in the first round. Shedeur's obviously been projected as high as number 1 since the end of the college season. Now, I mean, who knows? He could be a late first round pick. He could go 9 to the Saints, like you said. Kuiper thinks he's going to. I think, I guess, number 1, I do think that he will be, I think he should be taken before Cam Ward, but it looks like that might not happen. I still think as long as he's a first round pick, he's still probably the biggest name first round pick, which still probably puts me in the wheelhouse of making moves on his first cards for the team that takes him, which at this point look to be licensed cards, which is another thing, you know, with this announcement that kind of gets me excited is like, we've seen the Topps now first autos do really well of like the guys in their draft day attire. Like Jaden Daniels, like you and I have followed those and we've seen Wemby's do well, where it's like, okay, these aren't licensed, but it says like whatever number pick they are, and it's like a clean photo and an on-card auto, and there's only so many of them. You have to be really fast at Topps.com to get them. Now we're in a situation where I would think Panini should do something similar to this, but I believe Panini will still have the licensing through 2025 for everything. So now this puts us in a situation where not only will hopefully Shedeur's first draft cards be like licensed autos and licensed cards, but the whole year, all of his rookie cards he should have the licensed rookie autos for all of the Panini releases that only Anthony Richardson had a couple of years ago. And, you know, not too many, not all the quarterbacks out of the 2024 draft class, the 6 that were taken in the first round, will have, right? So Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels being Fanatics exclusive. Now this puts who I believe is the number 1 quarterback coming out of this year's class, not as Fanatics exclusive, but as someone who will be in the Panini family. And even though some of our guys in the live chat are saying it's only a 1-year deal, to me, that doesn't matter, because this 1 year is the most important year. It's his rookie year. So now you're going to have, for in perpetuity, you're going to have every single Shedeur Sanders rookie auto be a licensed Panini rookie auto, which I think should be great for the hobby.
So, yes or no that you're buying him at 9?
If he goes to the Saints at 9, yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
How far does that go for you?
I think I'm going to buy him as long as he's a first round pick.
Okay.
You know, I think if something weird like Malik Willis, where he was projected to be a potential first round pick in 2021 or 2022, sorry, and then he fell to like the 3rd or 4th round. You know, if something weird like that happens with Shedeur, I'm like, there wouldn't be as much initial hype around him to like make a quick flip. But I think as long as he's a first round pick and the subsequent 3 months are like this high anticipation of him, media coverage of him, his debut, his preseason debut, his training camp, all that, I think I'm in. I think I'm in.
So
theoretically, we'll see.
Browns pick at 33, First pick of round 2. Shedeur falls to the first pick of round 2.
That's going to be a tough call. It's going to be okay. Well, okay. Who has the? I mean, we don't know. We can look at the draft order right now, and it probably doesn't even matter because it's probably going to change. But it depends if he's the first pick of round 2.
Yeah, that's the Browns now.
It's the Browns right now. So I don't know, dude. I mean, maybe it's a maybe. It's a complete maybe. It's going to depend on who the team is. It's going to depend on what the media coverage looks like. We just don't know yet. So we're like what, 1.5 weeks away. It's not this Thursday, but it's the following Thursday. So
first off, so excited. We haven't had this many like good quarterbacks in a draft in a long time. Plus like this many like big names in a quarterback. I know like I'm very excited just from the hype that this draft is gaining. I mean, like, there's the fact that not from a card perspective, but the fact that we have Travis Hunter and the fact that we have Ashton Genty, and then we also have what's that dude's name from Texas? Matthew Golden out there.
Yeah.
You know, like there's some other players that I'm just excited to see where they drop because of how they will impact their other players on their team. And I think from an investing standpoint, we have to look at some of that stuff, you know, like if Matthew Golden does fall to the Arizona Cardinals, what does that mean for Marvin Harrison Jr.? You know, like what does that mean for Kyler Murray? You know, some of those things. I think it's going to be fun to just evaluate that in the next couple of months. And where does Jackson Dart fall? I'm actually kind of interested in that because if he falls to a place, I mean, look at what Denver did with their rookie quarterback this year. I mean, there are some good situations that he could potentially fall into. So
yeah,
it's going to be fun.
True. We know he can play.
Yeah.
You know, we know he's been an NFL prospect for the last couple of years, and he just his Ole Miss team just didn't get it done. And so yeah, it's going to be. Is Jalen Milroe in this draft?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's another one.
I know like, he's like second round potentially. So
yeah, so that could be interesting.
Yeah, Jalen Milroe's in here. We've got it's pretty stacked with names that we would recognize.
Yeah, Tetairoa McMillan, Luther Burden III, and Cam Scatabo. Cam Ward obviously like would be one. You know, we gotta throw his name out there, right? Like he could be the number 1 overall pick. As a secondary team Titans fan, because the Lions are my number 1 team, but I live in Nashville.
Don't get Turner excited, all right?
I would rather have Shedeur than Cam Ward, but that's okay. I mean, if he's good, if he ends up being good, that could be.
And just for a second, I would like to address this Brian Bartunek quote that just popped in here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he said he's cringing the announcement because he feels like Panini it does not have as good quality control. I know that they look worse because of the tape, but I actually have had pretty comparable grades coming out of PSA from my Panini to my tops. All year I graded both of them pretty consistently, and I had one bad Panini grade from the Arch Manning AMA, I believe, and then I also had one bad Tops Now grade as well. So I've had one bad one from both of them, and the rest of them I've graded almost extremely tens. So I don't know if it's really, I think that's maybe a narrative that we're building in our head more than it's actually a real narrative. I
think that's fair. I think that's a good point, Lefty. I'm glad you said that. I think it's fair. I think I made a lot of Panini instant plays this year because remember I got excited about the quarterbacks back in August.
Yeah.
And made some money on those. But the Caitlin Clark Rookie of the Year was really the only one that was just god awful in terms of the quality control. But everything else, even like the other Caitlin Clarks and the other NFL cards, and
maybe that was because of the amount of cards they printed in that specific one.
Yeah, maybe they did print like I think it
was like what
it was like
200,000 or
yeah, it was like it was like over 100,000. Terry Anderson was like right as I said that. I think he had already posted the Caitlin Clark Rookie of the Year with Terry. So we were thinking the same thing there, Terry. Junkyard Dog in the House, Sean Red 5 cards. Yeah, good stuff that you mentioned from Bartunek. Yeah, 115K, Terry said. That's what I thought. That's nuts. All right, so a lot of hyper relevancy that we're talking through. We just hit on the NFL draft. We're going to hit on the WNBA draft, the Masters, Oscar Piastri winning, NBA playoffs here in a second. But some data on this. Why do we come on and talk about when to sell your cards so often, being this so critical sort of like 24 to 36 hour window of a news cycle of a player? Here's part of the reason why. So one of my contacts at eBay, and I'm on a list of people that get this information. I'm not sure if other content creators put it out there like I do, because I don't really follow anybody else, to be honest. So Lefty and I kind of are in our own, for the most, like we're not like totally walled off from the outside world, but I'd say we pretty much just try to do our own thing and bring it to you guys. But data from eBay I get directly from their PR people. Some of the stuff I like the most is what I'm about to read off. And so from March 1st through April 8th, the top 5 most searched men's NCAA basketball players on eBay globally were Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper, Derek Queen, and Con Knipple. I think it's the first time we've said Con Knipple's name on the show.
I just love the way you said Knipple.
Knipple. But here's the other kicker. So like, I know that I just rattled off 5 names, right? But the other thing Lefty and I always tell everybody, we try to really hammer this point home, is that there's really, in most markets, especially a niche market like men's college basketball, there's really only room for one name at any given time to do really well. And so this next part I think is the most critical. Cooper Flagg searches during that time period were searched 11 times more than the next name, which was Ace Bailey. So I think a lot of times, how many times have we had people go, well, you guys are talking about Caitlin Clark. What about Juju Watkins? Or you guys are talking about Shedeur Sanders. What about Jackson Dart? I mean, there's so many different examples of that.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are talking about Magic Johnson. What about Dennis Schroeder? I mean, all those different things. That one was for Lefty, but I don't think it landed very well.
No, I got it. I felt
11 times more. So like that is what we're talking about. Like Ace Bailey, and actually I think that's literally one that we've had on the show where people are like, what about Ace Bailey? What about Dylan Harper? Okay, great players. I mean, if you happen to have pulled one of their cards and gotten lucky and it's one of their bigger cards, sure, you should probably sell it and make some money, but is there a play there like there is with Cooper Flagg? No. I mean, 11 times more searches for Cooper Flagg. Now, in terms of, I think let's go to Paige Bueckers. So Paige Bueckers, on April 6th, when Paige Bueckers led UConn to their 12th national championship, the number of Paige Bueckers cards, that's the search phrase, that then sold on eBay globally, increased over 200% compared to the day prior. So that's also what we're talking about. And I believe, Lefty, that was on a Sunday. Then we had a show the next day.
Yeah.
On the 7th. And I think I said, sell Paige Bueckers. That was a week ago today.
Yeah.
And so now we've got a situation where there are some other names in here. So Hickey, Iriafen, Lauren Betts, who I mentioned, Fluage Johnson, Madison Booker, Hannah Hidalgo, rose significantly from November 2024 through March 2025 compared to their previous basketball season, reflecting a surging fan interest in women's trading cards and memorabilia. So it's not that there aren't other names. There are other names. Paige Bueckers would be maybe all the women's basketball card market could handle right now. But now is definitely that selling marker. We also have a couple of other Paige news announcements. So I'm going to hand over to Lefty here in a second. But first of all, I kind of read that she is, and then I reread it and that she might sign a 3-year deal with Unrivaled. And then we've got the WNBA draft tonight. So, I mean, is there any other perfect storm to sell your Paige Bueckers cards than a week ago today through today? Like, if you would have listed in a 7-day auction Paige Bueckers when Lefty and I said a week ago, and then it's like, that's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Paige Bueckers is in a perfect storm right now, but I also wouldn't have held until that game. You know, like I sold Paige Bueckers at the beginning of the tournament because I didn't want to rely on UConn winning. I mean, even when UConn won, everybody was like, okay, you know, like, well, it wasn't against Juju. You know, like South Carolina is literally like the best
Don Staley's team.
Yeah, it's like the best coach franchise right now outside of UConn. And people still were like, well, but Paige didn't have to defeat Juju. It's like, that's disrespectful, but that's just media for you. But so at the same time, if you're still holding on to Paige Bueckers cards, now would be the time to sell. But that is a vast that's just, you should have already sold. I'll just put it that way. But I am excited about tonight to see where she lands. I obviously think it should be the Dallas Wings. I think that the Unrivaled story is unique, especially because of the way that Caitlin Clark's situation played out, and the route that she chose to go on. I think we're in uncharted territory for a lot of this stuff. I think whatever decisions get made by these athletes, I think will affect the next 10 years in terms of other players that are coming behind them. And I find that pretty cool. But I will dabble in the WNBA draft night cards tonight. I will probably get a bundle or two because that's me and I don't have the 5-player restriction.
That's going to be the grenade from Panini, right?
It will be the grenade. And I'm excited about that. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say about Paige Bueckers.
Speaking of grenade, I mean, Rory McIlroy wanted to basically blow up his own chances. I mean, Lefty, before we get into, there is some card data that I want to talk about from Rory because I used our card analyzer and predictor tool at nooffseason.com, which is the best tool on the planet. And it just gave me all the eBay sold listings for Rory since he won the Masters. But I was just my own quick commentary on this is that I was vehemently rooting for him to win the Masters yesterday because I just think if he would have lost that tournament, it would have been bad for golf. It would have been bad for the world. It would have been bad for social media. It would have been everyone would have come out of the woodworks and just been hating on Rory. And he is one of the best golfers that we have had the opportunity. I mean, I don't care if you like Rory. I know not everybody likes Rory McIlroy, but I mean, in fairness, like he's now one of like 5 or 6 people ever to win a career Grand Slam. And if you look at the other names, it's ridiculous. So now he's in there with those names. And when you think about if he would have lost that tournament, the whole narrative would have been he's a choke artist. He sucks, whatever it is, meme, whatever you want, because people would have been talking about, they would have been lumping it together with his US Open missed putt last year where DeChambeau ended up winning. And it would have been unfair to Rory for that to be the narrative. And so for him to just win that Fokker, I was just relieved, honestly, for the world, because I just hate the negativity. So I just wanted him to win just to not have the negativity of him choking. But I'll give you a little minute while I'm pulling up the data on Rory. What's your take on the Masters and anything golf related at this point?
I just love the Masters, man. One of the top cards that I've invested in over the last couple of years has been that Tiger Woods #1. And that's just because I just love that card. But, did I get it in and out of Rory cards while we were here? No, I didn't, because I wouldn't even know where to start with a Rory card. And I know that that's what Paul's going to pull up for a second here, but I am excited though that Rory did pull it off, because I do think it is good for golf and for the golf market in general. I felt bad for Justin Rose as he comes up second yet again at the Masters. I think this is like his third or fourth time, but it is funny for McIlroy to say, like, what are we going to talk about next year? Because he's got the Grand Slam now, and he's finally pulled off something that hasn't been done since 2000. And so now he enters, I think he was already compared to Tiger quite a bit over his career because of how he came in so early, and he was like kind of a phenom and all this kind of stuff. So now he's going to be like cemented next to Tiger in a lot of ways, and pretty much this generation's Tiger, or this generation's like phenom. He's now cemented himself there, and you can't really take it from him. So I'm excited about that. But then again, I loved the Masters. I think it was really interesting to see where DeChambeau was going to finish up. And yeah, one guy that I watched the Masters pretty much 4 days in a row, or not like continuously, but I tuned in for a couple hours here or there. I think a guy that got consistent disrespect is Sungjae Im, who got tied for fifth. I literally never saw him one time on the TV.
That's a good point. There were some dudes, and I didn't see Xander Schauffele very often either.
Yeah,
he's one of the top players in the world. Yeah,
but anyway,
that's a good point, dude. Yeah,
they never freaking showed that dude, and he got fifth.
I love the Masters too. It is the selling marker for golf.
Yeah.
Obviously now, if you've been making plays on Rory, I think you have an extended window. I think you've got the hyper relevancy of listing them now and trying to make sales. But I do think you have a bit of an extended window in the remainder of the major golf season, because he's going to be like, it's not like, it's going to be kind of like a victory tour, I think, for him at this point. And, you know, if you're ready to sell, like, you should probably sell if you're up on Rory cards. Like, and I'll do a little analysis here. So basically, he has a lot of cards. He has upper deck cards that are extremely high dollar autos. Technically like some rookie autos, but his actual rookie card, like his first cards, would be his Sports Illustrated for Kids from 2013. He's been in some upper deck releases in 2014. He's been in some upper deck releases since 2014, where he has some like massive autos, huge cards. But like an SGC 8 just sold yesterday. So Masters Sunday sold for $229.99. That's a buy it now. A 2014. So this would be like his upper deck rookie autos considered. And there's a bunch of them, but upper deck exquisite black lustrous signatures out of 75 in BGS 910 sold for $1,499.99, which is obviously a buy it now. Like whenever you see that price is always like a buy it now. So, but I mean, a lot of like, look at all these. Like, look at how many of his SI for Kids rookies sold. Raw yesterday, $56. BGS 8.5, $259.99. BGS 6.5, $69.99, which that was probably priced too low, I would think. But a lot of Rory. There was another one. So here's the one I wanted to tell you about. So these all sold yesterday, by the way, like Masters Sunday. 2014 SP Game Used Edition Retro Rookies. This is basically just a base card. See how it kind of looks like the Tiger Woods card you like?
Mm-hmm.
It's got the same design, but it's from a different year. So that's the retro, right? It's like the throwback to the Tiger rookie. $85 raw yesterday.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, great Rory data there. Congrats to Rory. If you're a Rory fan, congrats to you, because I like Rory. He's not like my all-time favorite, but I like him a lot. And I was pumped that he won. I just wanted him to win so bad.
The choke job was crazy though. I mean,
It
how many
was
times
crazy.
was he almost losing this?
It was nuts. You're right. It was stupid. The amount of times he did that to himself was just dumb. So a couple of plays though, golf play that I like. There's a golfer that I've mentioned on the show once before because he had a SI for Kids rookie come out this past year. Lefty, you remember me talking about Ludwig Oberg?
Yeah, I watched a lot of his game, especially Friday. They were showing him a lot.
I mean, let's just do a quick search for Ludwig Oberg in the analyzer tool at nooffseason.com. And you guys can do this. Just go to nooffseason.com. So Ludwig, look at this. Sold today. His SI for Kids PSA 7 sold for $152.50. And then the raw versions are selling. One sold for $20, one sold for $37, one sold for $34, one sold for $40. This was yesterday. One sold for $35. So that, just tearing them out of a good old SI for Kids magazine and making $30-$40 on it. Yeah, a bunch of them. That's the new market for that raw card as of yesterday, Masters Sunday, is more like $40 as I'm kind of charting these in the tool here. Just a Beckett. Okay. So there's one that he signed. That's a Beckett 10 auto that somebody got, obviously event signed. $229.99. I think I wouldn't necessarily pay $40 for it. I'd let it maybe come down a little bit, hopefully. But I think, look at this. One sold before the Masters for 99 cents. And now they're $40 after the Masters.
40x? Yep.
And one sold for $9 before the Masters.
I hope that was somebody that was in our community.
Let's go, people. March 27th, this card was $8. Now it's a $40 card. So Ludwig Oberg might be a sell alert, but also a play coming up because I don't know if he wins a major this year. What I'm kind of hoping is he doesn't win a major this year so that he could be on my list for next year. And then I could just buy a ton of those SI for Kids cards back around $10.
Are you saying you're going to put one of your top 5 athletes as a golfer next year?
I might not do 5. You know what I mean?
I guess.
I might have more than 5. I don't know what I'm going to do next year.
Dude, what would be interesting is if you did one per sport.
Yeah, one per
just
sport.
Said,
that could be a good one.
I guess that would be what? 8 to 10-ish categories?
Yeah, one per sport could be interesting. I like that. Okay, you got me thinking. But the reason I would like that card for Oberg is because it's literally his only card. There are no other Ludwig Oberg cards. All right, enough of that.
You're out of control.
Oscar Piastri was a guy.
Let's go.
That don't know. Lefty and I were all over this cat back in 2022 when his 2021 rookie cards came out. How many has he won? He's got a lot of podiums now, but he's won a couple races this year, right? This past weekend it's not his first win.
Nope. No, this guy, hot take, Paul, before the season started, I said hot take to my F1 group chat. I said, I believe that Piastri will win the Drivers' Championship this year. And everybody's like, no freaking way, dude. It's Lando and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, guys, Lando is worried about my buddy Trey told me this yesterday. Said this in the group chat yesterday. Lando is worried about beating Max. Oscar is worried about winning it all. And I think that is what will set them apart.
Nice take there. His 2021 Topps Chrome F1 Future Stars, which is technically his, it's I guess it's his pre-rookie card because then in 2022 he had the RC.
Mm-hmm.
But the Future Stars would be back when you and I first started talking about F1. My take was this is the Bowman Chrome first. The Future Stars is the Bowman Chrome first, and then the RC is the RC. So that card sold in PSA 10 yesterday for $179 after the win. So you see a similar type of PSA 8 out of 50 gold refractor sold for $142 yesterday. A lot of Oscar sales yesterday. I mean, here's a card that I used to have, although I had a PSA 9 of this, but his Topps Chrome Formula 1 auto out of 400 PSA 10, the Future Stars auto. So his first auto sold for $1,000. So I mean, there's definitely like Oscar.
Do a specific card for me. 2021 Topps Chrome Sapphire.
Got it coming up.
2021 Topps Chrome Sapphire.
The card analyzer and predictor tool at work. So let's chart it. PSA 10.
Yeah, PSA 10.
So these are before the most recent sales are before the win. So we don't have any
because I think this might be an undervalued card.
So before the win, $70 average sale, last sales. I mean, $69.68. Last sale, $70.11. But that was before the win. April 8th was the last sale.
This is his Future Stars, actually in a Alpine fit, but
yep.
I like that card. I think that could be a card I like
that call. One sold on March 6th for $51.13. So that was probably before his first win, right? This year?
Yeah.
Maybe
that
not.
might have been right during his first win.
Okay. So, but there's not that many of them, which I think is why maybe somebody auctioned it for $51.13. Then this maybe looks like a buy it now at $75 on February 23rd. So kind of definitely opportunity there. Lefty, if you had to buy one F1 card right now for the people to make a play on it, what would it be? Would it be that one?
No, I don't think so, because you never like to buy when everybody's in the media. And Oscar is, if from an F1 perspective, I know it's not in everybody's news feed, but Oscar is what people are talking about right now, because he's kind of supplanted Max and kind of challenging Lando for podiums and all sorts of stuff. I think, wow, that's very difficult. Maybe because his value is so down right now, I think maybe Carlos Sainz. He's been struggling with his new Williams team, but I think by the end of the year he will be probably a top 5 driver, or maybe George Russell. Honestly, he's had more podiums than anyone else on the grid, and he's just sneakily getting second and thirds. Also, Kimi is freaking driving, bro. He's doing super well. So I love that as well. I don't think Oscar would be what I buy right now. It would definitely be what I'm selling right now. But from a raw to grade perspective, that Sapphire Oscar card could do pretty good.
Might have Jake the Guardian add that to the rankings.
Maybe.
Now switching gears to basketball, because the playoffs start later this week. I guess technically this weekend, they start on Easter, maybe? Is Easter the 19th?
20th is Easter, I believe.
Yeah, so so the NBA playoffs start this weekend, Saturday.
I think the play-in
April 19th of the games, but there's the play-in, right? So the play-in starts before
Tuesday,
that.
I think.
Yeah, so the play-in's tomorrow. Any opportunities here? You know, I think like we've talked about NBA, we've talked about the playoffs being mainly a selling marker. There have been some NoOffSeason.com family members that have asked a lot about players like Cade Cunningham, players like Amen Thompson. You know, obviously Cade leading the Pistons to their first playoff appearance since 2019. Amen Thompson, part of a really young, exciting Rockets team that has the 2 seed in the West. we all know about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We all know about Luka, LeBron. One team we haven't really talked about is the number 1 seed in the East, the Cleveland Cavaliers. So shout out Ryan Painter,
Jake the
our
Guardian.
guy in Cleveland, and Jake the Guardian. Yeah, good call there. I looked up in our card analyzer and predictor tool, what is Darius Garland's rookie Prism Silver from 2019 in PSA 10 going for? Last sales like on April 11th, Lefty, like I'm pooping my pants at how inexpensive this card is. Darius Garland 2019 Prism Silver PSA 10. Like, let me just chart the sales for you here.
It could explode, man.
Like, what do you think the average sale of this card is
Without
last
looking?
week? Without looking.
PSA 10?
Yep.
I want to say it's closer to like $400 or $500, but I'm afraid it's going to be like $275.
You are going to absolutely diarrhea down your leg when I tell you what this is.
What is it?
$13.31.
What?
Everybody, if you believe if you believe in the Cavs and you believe in DG, you probably want to go buy these cards. Average sale $13.31. The last sale on April 10th. This is not an April Fool's joke. $9.99. These are silver. These are silver prisms. Nuts.
Crazy.
Absolutely nuts. I don't know why. I mean, the base PSA 10s in some cases are outselling the Prism Silvers. And I don't know why that is. I mean,
right now there's 0 on eBay, if you're wondering.
Yeah, so I mean, it could be that Lefty's take on it is like maybe you do have to pay closer to $200 to get one. But I'm telling you, the average sale of these in PSA 10 were there were 2 $9.99 sales of this card.
What's the highest
on April 11th
in the past 90 days?
What was the question?
What's the highest sale in the past 90 days?
The highest sale is actually of the base PSA 10 is like $25. So Prism Silver PSA 10, I mean, those were the sales. Like, that's it. It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, because there is one right now for $59.99 starting bid, but that's it. There's actually another one listed for $49, but it says it's a silver prism, and it is not.
Yeah, is DG Prism Silver PSA 10 criminally undervalued? I think so. This is the card that you and I and Connor used to talk about, like last year.
Yeah,
like a year and a half ago. Like, we were talking about this card, and I mean, it's easy to like name a player and be like, this guy's good. This is his Prism Silver. I mean, we've done that, and we've hit a lot, but we've also missed. And like, but is this, I guess the question to the audience is like, is this the player? Who is your NBA playoffs sleeper to quick flip, buy now, who's going to explode and then sell during the playoffs? Because it happens every year. It's hard to pick who the player is. Mine might be this Darius Garland card. I mean, I might recommend that people go bid on that one that you saw and try to win it. I think if you try to win it for $75, I think you're going to make, I think this card goes from $9.99 to $150 pretty easily during the NBA playoffs, unless the Cavs crap their pants.
True.
Weird. But I mean, you've got Pacers, Bucks, Knicks, Pistons, Cavs, Celtics. Everyone else is a play-in in the East. Thunder, Nuggets, Clippers. I hate the Clippers, by the way. I'm so over James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. But then you've got Lakers, Timberwolves, Rockets. Lefty, if you had to just make a play for the NBA playoffs, who would it be? What player and card?
Well, I just bid on this Darius Garland, so
there you go.
I guess that is one of them. I think Chet Holmgren, I think, is still undervalued. Maybe Jared as well, or Jay Will as well. That Thunder team, they broke an NBA record with plus minus on the year. I think people just saw what they did in the tournament, in the preseason cup tournament, and then what they did last year. But this team's not the same team they were last year. They're a little bit older, a little bit wiser. They've got Hartenstein as well. Everybody's healthy. They have the deepest bench in the NBA, probably. Like, I think the Thunder are scary. I think they might just run through the West. They might just freaking cook people. But to answer your question of who am I investing in, I've already done it. I've already bought a $1,600 freaking Luka Doncic silver because I believe that the not the Mavericks, the Lakers are going to win that first round series, and I'm going to sell that card. I think I sell that card for $2,000.
There you go. I agree. I think why go a sleeper like DG when you can go more of a potential lock like Luka? Because your statement was that if Luka lights it up in round 1, it goes to the moon and you sell it. And I think that's true. I don't even think he needs to win a championship in LA.
I don't even know if he has to win that series. I think he just has one good game and everybody's like, oh my God.
Could be true. Lefty is become the advocate for selling before a potential selling marker. Like just basically doing it strategically, obviously, but I like it. So if you're confused with grading your cards with PSA, grade with us at nooffseason.com. Send us your cards. We do the hard part and save you money. We also track your gem rate for you. Go premium at nooffseason.com. Multiple pricing tiers, weekly, monthly, and annual. Use the promo code NOOFFSEASON to save 20% now at nooffseason.com. All right, first to the market. So Lefty, this is where you and I talk about cards that aren't necessarily in the formula-based rankings yet because they're newer releases. I think there's a couple of players that have hit this category for us this year. Jaden Daniels is one that we've talked about potentially trying to be first to the market with graded cards from Prism. Arch Manning out of Prism Draft Picks 2024, and Caitlin Clark out of Prism WNBA 2024. Her WNBA cards out of Prism, card number 22, the base, card number 145, the rookie variation, card number 22, the ice variation, card number 145, the ice variation of that, the ice parallel to the variation, I should say. The Prism Silver out of the 2022 and the rookie variation 145 Prism Silver. Now the 145s are the one where she's like smiling, spinning the ball, looking into the camera. The 22s are what you call pooping.
Mm-hmm.
But all of these 6 cards that I just rattled off, I think are great first to the market plays because there's massive upside in the PSA 10s. And there's not a lot of sales data, but there's also even upside in the PSA 9s. So if you're even average at eyeballing pre-grading, these are plays. And what I like about this list too is like the base cards are significantly less expensive to buy into raw. The parallels, the ice and the silver are more expensive, but the more expensive cards have much higher upside, but the base cards have upside, and that's not always the case. Where do you think the market goes from here for these Caitlin cards? Do you think it's a situation where she has a sophomore slump and this all implodes? Do you think it's a case where she's like her market is just anything proof, like bulletproof right now, and you get these things graded and make money? What do you think?
I don't know if everything proof is officially the term I want to use, but I think most things proof is what I'm going to say. The Fever got a lot better this year. They put a lot of pieces around Caitlin Clark this offseason. They brought in some veterans that are really, really stable pieces for her. And like Boston is also Aaliyah Boston is also still there, and that team has got another year playing together. Plus, they have a coach that is more focused on winning. They'll probably be able to coach her better. So I think this year will actually be better for the Fever. I think that they will statistically be better. I think she will be better, which I think she could fight for MVP numbers this year, which would vault her trading cards like exponentially, I think. So it's going to be the Caitlin Clark show still. And if she's pulling down win after win after win after win, we're still going to see this go bananas. She was not winning at all to start the season last year and was not playing well. And we still saw good sales of her cards. So I think she could have a sophomore slump. But if I'm honest, Paul, she kind of had a freshman slump. Like she won Rookie of the Year.
True.
She won Rookie of the Year, and she didn't even do the things that she's known for.
She had to be tired as hell.
You know, I mean, because like basically she didn't get an off season.
Yeah.
She got a full
There
off
is no off season.
There was no off season for Caitlin Clark, which is why we've just been crushing Caitlin Clark cards. But I think she's got a full off season this year. She's going to come in healthy. She's coming in rejuvenated. She's going to come in not as the rookie that everybody's trying to like beef up. You know, I think it'll be a different year for her, and I think she really honestly becomes one of the best players in the WNBA this year. And I think her cards could go pretty crazy if she does that.
I love that. I'm making all those plays that I just rattled off. And there's one other card too that I really, really like. I'm not the guy that like necessarily thinks cards are cool. Like individual. I like cards. I like the things that collectors like about them, but I don't get like emotional really thinking that there's anything special about any particular card, but there is one. In fact, Carmel Porter submitted one through the card predictor and analyzer tool in the last couple of weeks at nooffseason.com. It's the WNBA logo parallel of the 145 card. It's really cool because it's just like WNBA logos in the background, like as a watermark, repeating watermark on the card. It's just a really, really cool design. What's up, Ziggy No in the live chat? Our guy Rusty McGart, special friend of mine, Jack Burton Music in the house. What's up, Jack Burton Music? He's actually one of my best friends in Valencia, Spain. Check out Jack Burton Music, Seville Sports Cards, Mr. January, Hobby Guys Co., Prism God in the house. What's up, Raph? Tonitos Cards Collection, Emo Cards, Hobby Guy, Barry Siff. Haven't seen him in a while. Caden Card Hub. Is that Caden Clark? I don't know, Lefty. That's a blast from the past on the Sports Card Strategy Show. MD Products Collective. Yeah, his dad followed us. Awesome. So
is this the card you're talking about?
Yeah, isn't that sweet?
That is sweet.
I think it's cool.
I don't think I've seen that one. You also brought up a Caitlin Clark card like 2 months ago that I was like, where is this even coming from? It was awesome.
I have to know a lot about her cards.
I know, dude. You're going in on Caitlin Clark cards.
One of only 5 people. Zach Ellsworth in the house. Zach says, logged in late. Did you already cover WNBA draft night cards tonight? Zach, that's why we are a podcast, my friend, because you can go back and listen on Apple and Spotify. But because you are a premium member of nooffseason.com and we love you, we will tell you, yes, we did. In short, Lefty is going to be dabbling in some draft night cards tonight.
There will be a grenade coming my way.
There's a grenade coming his way.
And
wouldn't it be nice?
Morant.
It's not who?
It's not coming from Ja Morant.
Oh, there it is.
Did you actually, do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Are you plugged in that much?
Not really.
Dang, that's sad. Anyway.
Wouldn't it be nice if there were a tool that you could just upload pictures of a card and it would tell you what it would grade and or what it would be worth in the future? We built one, Lefty. Go premium at nooffseason.com. Multiple pricing tiers, weekly, monthly, and annual. Use the promo code NOOFFSEASON to save 20% now. Okay. Lefty wants to talk about Ja Morant and grenades. Should we talk about it now or should we leave it for out of left field?
Oh, that's not making out of left field. But I do have an interesting subject that I would like to run by you really quick.
Okay.
How much did you say was the PSA 10 silver Darius Garland?
Well, according
like
to
$20
the
or
eBay's
$10
last
or
sales there were 2 that sold for $9.99.
Let me tell you how disrespectful this is. Jarrett Allen last PSA 10s, average selling over the last last 5 sales of it, $28.32.
Yeah, very
That's
disrespectful. Hey, there was one news item actually that I wanted that I didn't put it in the show notes, and I thought I was going to remember, and we moved past it. And Derek Hagan, who's one of our premium members at nooffseason.com, just threw this in the live chat. What should I do with my Nico Bowman first auto? And he put LOL in there. He knows, Derek, you know to ask on the premium pod, and we're going to give you a real answer. But Nico obviously not going to be going back to the Vols. Let's try to pronounce his name correctly, because we were calling him Yamalieva, and it's actually Ayamalieva, I believe is how you say his last name.
Oh, I've been saying Imalueva.
Imalueva? No. It's
whatever it is.
I might be wrong, but I believe it's Ayamalieva. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Nico Villanueva, according to Lefty, is
not going to transfer.
He's going to transfer. I mean, is this a thing where like any news is news that vaults eBay searches and maybe you move out of him? Or do you wait to see like where he lands? Like what would you do?
I'm potentially interested in moving into Nico, if I'm honest, because Tennessee doesn't do it for me. But I think there is a lot of other schools he could transfer to. Now he's late in the portal, but he could transfer to a lot of schools and make an absolute scene for himself. Let's just say, Paul, he transfers to Texas A&M. That's immediately a bigger market. Let's just say he transfers to South Carolina, not South Carolina, South California, USC. Let's say he goes there. Let's say he goes to OU. Let's say, there are other places that he could go to that would vault his. Let's say he goes to Kentucky. Does that do something for him? I think it does, because Tennessee is like, nobody outside of Tennessee loves that team. Now, Kentucky I might be biased there, but I think
you're a little biased on Kentucky, but you do make a good point. I don't think there's many Vols fans outside of Tennessee. There might not be any, literally, outside of Tennessee, unless they moved from Tennessee to another location. So yeah, moving into Nico might be something I would look at if I were you. Derek, we'll answer for real on the premium pod. So submit through nooffseason.com/ask. But I think it's an interesting topic. Lefty's saying he might want to move into him. I think it depends on this. It depends on the buying format, right? Like if it's the right card in an auction, it could be moving into him. If you're already up on a Nico card, now could be a decent selling marker. It could be better to wait because maybe he gets like a record NIL deal at a big school, like a school that's going to help. Personally. That kind of thing would be a better selling marker than what's happening right now. But also selling him now could be better than if he lands at a crappy school. Now, what I'm sort of hoping for MSU Collector is I think Jonathan Smith and everybody up in East Lansing should just give Nico 10 mil and just get him up, go green, go white.
And what if he ends up at Oregon? They have the biggest NIL deals right now.
Well, the rumor is that Oregon was the one who sort of outed this whole situation. Like he was shopping his services to Oregon, and then Oregon basically came back to Tennessee and said, "Hey, just so you know, this is happening, and we're not interested in him, but we wanted to let you know about it," or whatever. So, there's some type of like rules as well about like if he goes to another SEC school, does he have to sit out? All that stuff.
What if he goes to North Carolina with Bill Belichick?
Ooh, forgot about that.
I like the thought of that.
That's interesting. Gold Rush Slabs in the live chat. Hobby Guys Co. on IG says, pop these questions in the premium Discord. So yeah, that's a good point. We've got this premium member Discord at nooffseason.com. Pretty much all of you, if you're a member, will have the member points to use to get into the premium Discord. So that's definitely something that people are excited about right now.
My point is, I think he can just go a lot of places, and his market would go better than Tennessee.
All right, Derek. Well, that gives you a little bit, some insights from Lefty. We still would like to know what card and how much you paid for the card, and we'll do the analysis on the premium pod. Okay, we got a couple segments left. Addicted to Crack is up next. This is one of my personal favorites, and I've challenged myself to get a little creative with the Addicted to Crack segment. Typically, it's been like going to more vintage cards and looking at grading companies other than PSA and then saying, let's crack and submit to PSA. But as I have made more and more of those plays personally over the last few years, my success rate is not as high. I mean, I've had some big wins. One of them I'll tell you about next Monday, cracking from BGS and submitting to PSA. But I've also realized that PSA grades certain criteria. Of the four major card grading criteria areas, where you've got corners, edges, centering, and surface, PSA is a little bit harsher on certain areas. And because they don't have a Mint Plus grade, there's some opportunities to move from a PSA 9 into a Mint Plus version from another grading company. So I looking at more ultra modern cards and seeing what is PSA grading harshly in a PSA 9 that could actually could either gem at another grading company or even get a Mint Plus and make us some money. Joe Burrow's 2020 Optic Hollow 151 is a card that all of you who have listened to the show for at least a year know that I've liked that card for a while. The PSA 9 is almost a pop 2000, so you can find it. It sells very frequently. The last sale was $98 in a PSA 9. Let's just look at BGS 9.5 is $235 card. So how many times have you gotten a BGS 9.5, cracked it out, and gotten a PSA 9? Well, what if you did the other way around? PSA 9 to BGS 9.5. You'd make a lot of money on that. SGC 9.5, which is a Mint Plus grade, you make $30. It's a $128 card. So you don't net $30. There's going to be some fees, but there's some opportunity there. And better yet, SGC 10 is $245 card. So the reason I called out the SGC Mint Plus is because your worst case scenario most likely is an SGC 9. The SGC 9 goes for $109. So what if you're cracking and submitting to SGC and you get a 9, you're still kind of a break even. It's worth the chance to potentially get an SGC 9.5 or an SGC 10, which has been known to happen. So if you think about it, you're just reverse engineering. It's the same card. You've cracked an SGC 10. You've gotten a PSA 9. What's to say that you don't crack the PSA 9 and get the SGC 10? So just kind of reverse engineering it. Now, Joe Burrow's 2020 Prism Silver PSA 9, a little bit harder to find, but you can still find it. It's pop 896. It's a $300 card. So if you go from a PSA 9 to a BGS 9.5, you would be looking at a $632 card. So basically 2x. If you get a SGC 9.5, you're looking at, the last sale was quite a long time ago, about a year and a half ago, but it's a $600 sale. And the all-time average is 420. So that's a win. Now an SGC 10 is an $1,800 card. And that was a couple of years ago, but still, like, that's because it's a super low pop card. So can you do it? I think it's going to be, it should be pretty easy to tell because the borders on each of those releases in 2020, Lefty especially likes the Prism where you count the number of dots, right, Lefty?
Yeah.
So it should be pretty easy to shop for this and tell if you have a chance. What do you think about this this new addicted to crack strategy here?
Most of the addicted to crack strategies scare me. just because of how much we've been burned in the past. But I like the way that you framed this, where there's just so much margin for error in a lot of these that it makes it a lot more appealing to me. I think blindly we have done this, or I have done this blindly previously, and it just didn't. It just I was just upset with it more often than I was happy with it. So the Addicted to Crack segment, just like thinking about it, gives me a small bit of anxiety. But I think when you're willing to put the data behind it, I think it makes it a lot more appealing rather than just blindly saying, yeah, let's just crack these over. It should just come right over. It's not a problem. But specifically those prism bubbles are so easy to navigate because you can literally look at the centering. Like it's so easy to look at the top to bottom centering. You don't even have to gauge it with your eye. You can just count them. Like, like you don't have to be like, well, is that a little bit left, right, off center? Just count the bubbles. If you can see 4 or 3.5 bubbles, that's a PSA 10. If you can see 4 or 3 bubbles or 3.5 bubbles on both sides, that's a PSA 10 in terms of the centering.
Yeah. Which and again, remember, there's 4 subgrades, and PSA does not give you the information. They don't do subgrades, and they don't have a mint plus grade. So if you're a little bit confused as to why I'm saying go from a PSA 9 to a different grading company, it's because there's literally PSA skips a whole half grade where SGC has it and BGS doesn't have it, but BGS has the subgrade. So you can see, and that's part of the reason why BGS gem mints sell for less than PSA gem mints, is because of the subgrades. BGS tried to change that. That's a whole other story. We won't get into that, but there's a lot of opportunity to get addicted to crack. All right. Speaking of being addicted, do you like the content on this show? Do you want more? Go premium at nooffseason.com now to get unlimited advice answered on our Friday podcast for premium members called the Premium Pod. Go premium at nooffseason.com. Multiple pricing tiers, weekly, monthly, and annual. Use the promo code NOOFFSEASON to save 20%. Now, are you ready to start grading your cards? CGC Cards is the perfect place to slab your favorite sports cards. From their crystal clear holders to their affordable pricing, CGC Cards is the perfect stop for your grading needs. Go to cgccards.com to start grading today. Lefty, release calendar strategies. It's time to talk about what you and I do when new releases come out. And it's not always the same thing. I think the general rule of thumb is we don't buy into new releases. We go back in time and look at what cards are there opportunities for us to dive into from previous year's releases. While everybody else spends their money on the new release, we go back and go where they ain't, if you will. And so I think at least once a month we like to talk about this. There's some new releases coming up. I know some of these are going to make Lefty sort of throw up a little bit in his mouth. 2024 Upper Deck Tim Hortons retrospective rookies hockey might be one of them. 2024 Panini National Treasures baseball would probably be one of them. One that might be okay to talk about, 2024 Donruss Optic basketball. Another weird one, 2024 Donruss Turkish Airlines EuroLeague basketball. 2024 Panini Phoenix football. 2024 Topps Cosmic Chrome football. 2024 Panini Select Premier League Soccer. And one that I know will make him vomit, and I'm vomiting, is 2024 Panini National Treasures NASCAR. Just don't care about that one, so we're not even going to talk about it. I think the ones to talk about here are the Optic basketball from 2024. So this is this year's rookie class. It'd be Reed Shepard, Donovan Clingan, Lefty's guy Alex Sarr, Zachary Risache, etc. Then the 2024 Panini Phoenix football just kind of reminds me to let everybody know what I would do is I think this could be a time to go back and buy 2024 NFL Prism. Because now you've got, we talk about like when to buy in to Prism for like a really good rookie class. And now you've got like a bunch of other releases. And so like Phoenix is not a big release, but people are going to like buy into Phoenix breaks and they're going to do a bunch of other weird stuff with Phoenix, which we don't think you should do. Is now the time to go back and buy 2024 NFL Prism singles. Last week we talked about the 2023 NFL Prism singles, so we won't talk about that now, but like just some numbers. Like you've got PSA 10s of Jaden Daniels, JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix, Drake May, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Caleb Williams. Their Prism Silver PSA 10s are all down quite a bit. Now, they're probably down because the pop count is slowly growing and it hasn't plateaued yet. So I'm not saying to buy in, but I do think it's an interesting discussion. If you like any of those guys, I think it's better to potentially look at some of those cards than to buy into any kind of wax or breaks. And then the 2023 basketball, I think is where I would go, and it's where I've been going. Keontae George is an interesting guy. If you're looking for kind of a more well-known sleeper, Victor Wembanyama is obviously interesting. I mean, the reason I say Keontae George, his Prism Silver PSA 10 from 2023 is a pop 964. It's down a little bit right now. There's nothing that necessarily is getting me too excited here, but I do think this is generally the strategy. Lefty, is there anyone here that here's another, remember Bilal Coulibaly, Scoot Henderson? You've got some interesting guys in there with some upside from the NBA. And then I do think that you got to be careful with the quarterback class from 2024 in terms of like waiting too long to sell them. But there could be an interesting buy-in point between now and the end of June for those guys before you would then flip either during the national or leading up to the season in late August.
Yeah, I think I'm less excited about the NBA guys. I'm more excited about the NFL guys, which is crazy because I am now the NBA is my one sport guy. But I'm way more interested in even some of like Michael Penix Jr. PSA 10 could be something that could be exciting around the August turn. I mean, you've got guys like Bo Nix. Bo Nix had a lot of hype last season. I imagine that people are down on his prices right now. I mean, this says it's down 26.4% on the link that I just looked at. Yep. Michael Penix Jr. is down. Those are guys that I would be more excited about. Even Bryce Young, I'd be excited about where they're going. But
I don't hate JJ McCarthy either.
No, I've been trying to find the JJ McCarthy kabooms pretty regularly. I just haven't found one that's in the price point that I like. And Jaden Daniels still I like. I still have a Jaden Daniels auto coming from Topps eventually, someday, maybe. the pending maybe.
I can't wait till you get that because that's going to be huge.
Yeah, so I'm way more excited about these, and I think the numbers prove it. Like if the listing as you scroll down, it's just like all the football guys are way more further down than like Keontae George is only down 17.9%, but that's still only $10. Like no thanks. Like Grady Dick, not that excited about that. I mean, would I? And so I'm way more excited about the quarterbacks on that list than I am the basketball players on that list.
Yeah, and I'm way more excited about all of that than I am about the releases that we talked about. But yeah. I do think that's interesting to continue to bring up because there's more and more new people coming into the hobby. We hope that as new people come into the hobby, they listen to us. We help you not make dumb mistakes like buying into Panini Phoenix or, God forbid, National Treasures Baseball.
Oh, God.
What about Tim Hortons retrospective rookies hockey, though? I mean, are you going to buy into that, Lefty?
I don't even want to look at that, to be honest.
All right, so that's a good time to go over to Lefty and talk about what is in his brain. This is a segment that I call out of left field. I just want to give Lefty McKee, who's one of the more intelligent people that I've ever met, an opportunity to just give us what's in his brain for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I knew this was coming today, so I was like, okay, where, in the craftiness can I go with this? Where could I get crazy with it and, talk about something that no one's expecting? And I don't really have one that I want to put out there that's because I don't want it to grow into some abscess of our brand that's like gets us in trouble, which has happened before. Like we've had a out of left field segment before, but before they were called out of left field. Where
all you need to do is screenshot your
crazy.
DMs, and then we would see
exactly.
all of that.
Like, I don't need to be going crazy with all this, but I wanted to potentially bring up a situation, and I wanted to use this time to potentially talk through something that I did this week and get a Paul yay or nay approval of what I did, a purchase that I legitimately made. So I want to go to the Anthony Edwards Silver Raw that we talked about a couple weeks ago. We talked about it being a good raw to grade strategy right now. And I found one that I think, according to the pictures online, looks a bona fide 10. Okay. So I want you to pull up the Anthony Edwards Silver Raw numbers, because the market as of the chart, or you can look at it on nooffseason.com, whichever one you want to do.
I'm going to pull it up on nooffseason.com. So the Prism Silver Raw, I'm going to chart the last maybe at least five or six. Let me get one more. Okay. So last sale, $184.99. Average sale, $173.21.
Okay, remove the last sale for a specific reason.
Okay, remove the
180, whatever.
Remove the $184.99. Okay. Why, is that yours?
Maybe.
All right.
You'll figure it out in a minute.
Average sale 170.27. Last sale 157.23.
All right. So this card I really like, and I think my question was going to be how high over. We had this discussion on Friday. We had this discussion on, do you intentionally or have you ever paid above comps for a card? I looked at this card. There's not a whole lot that I deemed would be worthy of a PSA 10. I found one that I thought, okay, this one looks really good. This one has the centering, like it looks good. And I paid a little bit more than I wanted to. And so what I was going to ask you is, if the card value is around 170, how high in terms of now, if you are going to go higher than the purchase price, how high over the expected purchase price are you willing to go on this specific card, knowing that this card is at the 700 range for a PSA 10?
Yeah, I thought it was around 700. I would go, I mean, you're within $15 to $20, so I think that's super safe. And I'm looking at the one that you bought. It's got exactly three, like on one side it's got 3 3/4 dots, and on the other side it's got like 3.5 dots, which is right in there. I would think up down it looks good. I don't see any surface issues. The back looks good. There shouldn't be any corner or edge wear on these cards. You never know, but I mean, the bottom left corner, maybe in the photo, could be not perfect, but it still could gem. I've had this exact card gem, and I did not think it was going to gem. And so, yeah, I mean, the question is, I'm answering more of like, do I think this card is going to gem? But I know your question is like, do you go over the target cost, and if so, by how much? I think if you're within $15 to $20 of the target cost on a card that for a PSA 10 would triple in value, then you're doing great.
Yeah.
I think most cards, this is one where you're like more than tripling the value if it gems. Most cards, the reality is you're only like doubling the value if it gems. So for that reason, I think you have more leeway to go over the target cost.
Yeah, so I'm all in. So spoiler alert, you actually found, I accidentally did not tell you to not find the one that was mine. Spoiler alert, after fees on eBay, I'm at $199, $199.29. And after grading fee, I think, I'm probably going to submit this with a bulk order so I can get it around next season, I would imagine. But this is just a finish the play scenario for me. I don't expect Anthony Edwards to be cheaper than $600 or $700 next season going into the start of the NBA season. So we always say like, oh, should we rush the order or da-da-da? I think you have enough margin to rush the order if you want to in this one, but I'm not going to. So do you think this was a A, B, C, or D purchase for me based on the purchase price?
I think it's like an A minus.
Okay. I'll take
yeah, because I think the only thing that I'm wondering about is like, are you paying sales tax? Like, why did it go from or was the shipping $15?
Yeah.
The shipping was $15. Okay. Yeah.
Well, so I am paying sales tax because I don't have the I don't have an LLC
situation. Okay. I'd say it's a solid A minus. I think it's a card that really has a chance to gem. You never know, but you've given it the best possible shot. It's a card that is going to be the right card for the right player for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't think you really lose on this. Like, I don't see a way that you actually lose on this. So I think there's only upside. So I think you did well. I wouldn't like be super pumped about going over $200 because like the PSA 10 is averaging out around 700, like you said. So, I mean, I know that there's a huge difference between, there's a $500 difference, but like you're at least locking in a PSA 10 if you just go buy the PSA 10.
Yeah.
And you could, I mean, we all know, like you could end up buying 3 or 4 of these before one gems. And then at that point you're like, okay, well, I might as well have just bought the PSA 10.
Right.
Which I have done. I think you did well.
Yeah. So I also have a PSA 10 of this already that I've been sitting on that I actually bought in at a higher point than where it's at right now. So I'm kind of waiting for the playoffs to make it come back up. So I'm kind of at a catch-22 of do I root for him or do I root for Luka? That's the problem for me. So maybe it's just a 7-game series where both of them explode and I can win in both of them. So
yeah,
that's my out of left field. I wanted to get an actual evaluation of one of my purchases over the past week and a half.
Well done. I love it. Thanks for sharing that and letting me answer. Okay, it's time for Ben T, who's one of our premium members at nooffseason.com, says, let's hear how Lefty's Cooper flag play ended.
Okay, so I had 60 of the firsts, or 60 of the Bowman 1, and then 30 of the Bowman 44. So I had 2 Cooper flag plays that I was making at the same time. Both of them tops now plays. I had 30 of one and 60 of the other. 30 of the 44s came back as a PSA 10. So I got 100% grade or 100% gem rate on the 44. But that was after I pulled 10 of them out of the original 40 that I bought. I looked at them actually, and I found 10 of them with specific, like an obvious pockmarks on the back. And so I sold those for the exact price that I bought them for from Tops. So the caveat here is the 100% grade rate would not have been 100% had I sent all 40 of them in. There would have been, I believe that they would have been less than a 10. They would have been a 9 or an 8 maybe, or maybe even worse. So I sold those immediately. I did not send them to grading. But the ones I did send in for grading, I had 100% grade rate on it. So PSA 10, 30 of those. On the Cooper number 1s, I sent them straight in. I sent all 60 of them in, got 45 10s, 15 nines. Of all of the 10s of both of the cards, I did not sell one for under $50. So all of them were between $50 and $75. I made a total profit of $2,719, and I'm still holding 21 of them because 10 of those have not been paid for yet and have not been released back to me. And the other 10 that are in the hopper right now, I have 5 of each card that I'm going to sell at the NBA draft just to see.
Let's frickin' go, Lefty McKee. Thanks for asking, Ben T. That's a huge win. That's why you listen to us. Lefty, one parting shot from me today before I hit him with the outro is that I have not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 PSA submissions sitting in assembly right now. So
they're all about
my credit card's about to get smacked this week.
Mine just got smacked last week because I had 4 released last week, which was awesome. But at the same time, you're like, oh, it's all there now. So
everybody, thanks so much for being here with us. You're going to hear me say that again in 1 second. Lefty, great show today. Everybody, have a great week. We'll see you soon. Thanks so much for being here with us on the Sports Card Strategy Show. If you enjoyed the content on today's show, there's plenty more waiting for you at nooffseason.com. Just go to nooffseason.com right now and get a free 30-day trial. You get our formula-based sports card rankings, sports card school, inventory tracker, the ability to grade with us, and the premium podcast where we answer an unlimited amount of your questions. Check it out right now at nooffseason.com. For everyone at nooffseason.com, I'm Paul Hickey. Thanks again for being here with us on the Sports Card Strategy Show. We'll see you again soon. Have a great day.